Yeah. Blackjack. Life is like a game of cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Yeah. Blackjack. To play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. And like I always say, if you're new to the channel and you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor and hit the bell notification. It's very much appreciated. I'm going to get right into it. This question right here comes from a young man from Seattle, Washington. And the question is, DELRAY, can you tell me who actually ran Death Row Records after Suge Knight was incarcerated after Tupac died when he went to jail for the violation of probation? Who was at the helm of Death Row? Yes, I can. But let me give you some back information on how I do what I do. So when I'm asked the question, right, what I do is, if I don't know the answer or if I wasn't present for the situation, I usually like to go to do the research, because I think that's most important, because it's not really about what I'm going to come to you and tell you and say and, you know, have you believe what I'm saying. I think the facts are important here. You know what I mean? And my credibility is on the line when I sit here and I talk to you. So I don't want to just tell you what I feel, what I think, and all of those things. I want to give you the facts. So I'm going to get right into the facts. What I came across was there was a guy, and I heard his name before, but I really didn't know how much of a role that he played in actually running Death Row. But from what I read, it was a quite substantial role, and he was the guy that Suge trusted to run the daily operations of Death Row after Suge was incarcerated. And I'm going to go straight from the facts. I don't want you to believe what I'm saying. I just want you to listen to what the facts are, and you can decide for yourself. And it goes into it like this. It says, I hate that circumstances are what they are, Anderson says, shaking his head. He takes a long drag, and the tip of his Marlboro turns the color of the smog-stained sky. Anderson fingers his lapel, which still bears the ribbon around the old oak tree, yellow, not the Death Row red Knight supporters wore to court. Then he exhales. But you have to understand something. Suge built this company, and his family was not really involved for a very long time. Then there came a point where he sought out his family to see if they wanted to come into the business. I'm sure there was a reason for that. Anderson suspects it had something to do with what has happened to Death Row Records during the past 12 months. He's certain it has everything to do with what will happen next. See, I'm Suge Knight's brother-in-law, Anderson reveals, raising his eyebrows and smiling. I married his sister. Everyone says, man, you look just like Suge. Well, I've known him for 20 years. I've known his sister for 20 years, and we've been married for 10 years. I'm just like, well, part of the family. The 34-year-old Anderson is 6 inches shorter, 100 pounds lighter, and 1,000,000 times less intimidating than the Death Row 6'4", 350-pound founder, mentor, and taskmaster. But he shares Knight's sense of opportunity and intense work ethic. Suge gave Anderson a receptionist job at Death Row 3 years ago, and his brother-in-law quickly made the most of that gesture and affection and nepotism. By last year, Anderson had worked his way up to general manager, a position that within the company's abbreviated hierarchy placed him a heartbeat, or as it turned out, a gavel's pound away from the top. When Knight was incarcerated in the county jail on October 22nd for violating probation from a 1992 assault conviction, Anderson began to oversee Death Row's operations. But his authority was only titular. Suge was still the man at the controls, Anderson said. I was just in contact with him. He made the decisions, and I made sure they were carried out. That's the first information that I've gathered, to the young man's question from Seattle, Washington, about Mr. Norris Anderson. May he rest in peace. Like I said, once again, I've heard a lot about him, but I didn't really know, what that was. So what I did was the research. And so it also says, however, California law bars prison inmates from operating businesses. So on February 28th, when Superior Court Judge J. Stephen Ziegler formally reinstated Knight's suspended prison sentence, Anderson's responsibility expanded. I've come a long way, he says now. I started out answering phones. That's a long way. And so, definitely Norris Anderson gets his props. Like I said, once again, just doing the research and trying to get to the bottom of what people ask me in regards to the questions and things like that. And so I came across something else that was confirmation of information. Basically, like I said, over the years, there's been, many people saying that they ran death row, they weren't charged, and so on and so forth. There's been many rumors also in regards to that. And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to really get to the bottom of what that was. You want to ask the question. Like I said, I get asked a lot of questions. Some, questions that I don't really think that I could do any justice to. You know what I mean? Some questions are basically rumors and innuendos, and some questions are very valid in regards to the history and the legacy of what death row was and who played a big part in maintaining it and holding it down. What I also came across was another a situation. This was on March 4th, 1997. And basically this was, I believe, on the same day that Anderson had gave his basically his statement, and it was David Kenner who on this particular day basically said, death row will go on. Kenner proclaimed, Mr. Norris Anderson has been doing an admirable job of running it under the direction of Mr. Knight. During the last period of time, as you probably all know, at various times, Death Row Records has had both the #1 and #2 records in the country, while Norris Anderson was at the helm of it with Suge's direction. Death Row Records is a movement and will continue to go, and I'm quite sure Mr. Knight will continue to set its course and direction. So I hope this answers the question of the brother from Seattle. And so like I said, from all that I know and understand, because like I said, I wanted to, understand what that was and what that meant, myself from that perspective. And, basically, Norris Anderson was that guy. Like I said, he was trusted by Suge. He was family. And I really don't know what happened the 12 months prior to him coming in. As you've seen what he said, like I said, Anderson suspects that it has something to do with what has happened to Death Row Records during the past 12 months. I don't know what happened during that particular time, but he's basically saying that something had happened that I guess Suge didn't like or he disagreed with, and he's certain that it has everything to do with what will happen next, basically. Like I said, and so from that perspective, like I said, I got to give props to the brother Norris Anderson. As like I said, David Kenner even said that Norris Anderson was doing a great job of running Death Row while Suge Knight was in prison. Your boy DELRAY, straight gang.